Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about self-care strategies for people who are busy, like us, like everyone. We're really talking about prioritizing your mental health, simple strategies that you can be incorporating into your day, some of the things that work for us. We're going to be talking about it all because so many people that we speak to are working very hard in their careers. They're, creating families, they're in relationships. They're just trying to figure out, how can I still take care of myself at the end of the day? So let's start with you, Keely. How are you taking care of yourself, even though you're a very busy human?
It's a great question. No, I'm excited to talk about this today because I think for us, it's something we're thinking about every day, but by no means are we perfect. Seriously, by no means are we perfect. There are times where I am taking care of myself like a rock star, like it's my full-time job, and I'm like, whoa, I'm getting good at this. But then there's times of the month where I just fall off. And honestly, I've noticed a pattern for myself that I sync a lot of how I'm taking care of myself and the moods and the things that I'm going through with my cycle. Like that's genuinely something for me that I actually have started to notice. I'm like, whoa, 1 week before it is just a madhouse around here. No, but I really think for me, taking care of myself just really boils down to one thing. And I think at the end of the day, we have to look at why are we motivated to take care of ourselves. And I train for life. Like I work out, I will read in the mornings, or I will do breath work, or I'll put myself in extreme cold and then hot, and I'll do all kinds of techniques and modalities, and I can get more into that if you want. But the ultimate reason why I do those things and why it works for me is because I know I'm training for life. I'm training for the moments when life gets really hard and my mind starts to go. And my mind is how I'm building that resilience within me. I was just going to say. It's resiliency, because what it is I've got a foundation now. I've got tools. I've got a whole kit of things I can choose from when I feel like I'm losing control or I feel like I'm falling off track. What do I turn to? I do the same thing with food, and that's self-care too. I think about the question, is this going to help me nourish my body? I think about what is in my toolbox. What are meals, foods, foundations, people, places, tools that I can use, go to find the things that will guide me back to taking care of myself. So you asked, what am I doing to take care of myself? I want to know that. I answered why I'm taking care of myself. Because
now I want to know what are you doing?
So it depends on the time of the month.
Yeah.
But right now I feel at my best. And so I'm actually doing a lot of exercise training. And 3 days a week, I put myself through actual hell because I know it will make me stronger up here. I train at 6 a.m. from 6 to 7, one of the hardest workouts of my life, boxing. And then in the afternoons on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I do this exact routine. It's the same thing I follow. I know I can depend on it. Is on Tuesdays in the afternoon, it's 4:30 to 6:30. I'm training strength, cardio, and boxing. And it's like adding 3 hours to my day of something that I'm not focusing on work. Like that is my form of self-care. But I want to acknowledge that part of that, like this morning, right, my workout was at 6. I turned the light on, Dani was watching me, and for 20 minutes, I'm reading. Mm-hmm. So if I can add in clips of information or pieces that I know will add up at the end of the week, right? Let's just say I read 20 minutes Tuesday, 20 minutes Thursday, and 20 minutes on Saturday. That's an hour, right? That's an hour of my time. Thank God that was easy math because I'm not good at math.
I also want to say you and I have a lot of flexibility in our work right now because we work from home, we work for ourselves. Mm-hmm. So that is a big part of how you're able to incorporate that. Are there any things that you're doing throughout your day that people who don't necessarily have the time flexibility would be able to incorporate something into their routine to take more care of themselves?
I want you to think about it like micro moments, right? If I'm saying, hey, you want to add more reading into your life, you want to add more breath work. The breath work that I do, which you can listen to the previous episode or a couple episodes back, it's the Wim Hof breathing technique. that episode that was linked in there is 10 minutes long. So imagine if you did 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Imagine if you did that every single day. Imagine if you did that 3 days a week. That's a 30 extra minutes that you're able to incorporate something that's self-care. And I start thinking about it like compound interest. No matter if you could take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour to 2 hours, it doesn't matter. Because if you're doing incremental micro moments every single day, it's going to eventually add up. And I stopped looking at my life as if, oh, I don't have time today. It's like, can I just fit 5 minutes in? Can I just fit 10 minutes in for myself? And for me, now I'm at this point where it's like, if I'm not doing things that don't nurture and take care of myself, I'm not my best self. I've seen it time and time again. I don't show up in my relationship properly. I don't show up at work properly. My mind's not right. And I'm resentful. I'm resentful that I'm not taking that time for myself. So start with the incremental moments. Start with those moments that, instead of scrolling, like what could you swap, right? What are the things in your life that you have to release a little bit in order to incorporate them? Why are you smiling?
I think it's interesting. And
we
also,
do life we do our self-care very differently too.
Yeah.
So I want to hear about you.
I spend less time doing the things that make me feel good because
it's hard.
No, well, it's not even that. I spend less time, but doing it more focused. So you spend more time doing the things that you love to do that make you feel really good. I'll spend a quarter of the time and feel super laser focused in what it is that I'm doing, and I feel like I'm doing it throughout the day instead of just in these large chunks of time.
So give an example.
And it feels more sustainable. Like even when we go and work out together, you're working out for a lot longer than I am. You may be burning yourself out when you're doing it. I'm not sure. But I do it for probably half the amount of time, and I feel like I'm giving it my all. I'm hyper focused. I'm doing everything that I need to, but just in a shorter amount of time. I take a short bath throughout the day. I'm doing these different things throughout the day to release stress, to make myself feel better, to move a little bit so that it's broken down differently than you. So
Definitely.
It's just the way that you like to prioritize your time.
I think
also.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think it gives this perspective that there's so many different ways to do self-care and you can't do it wrong. And for me, I know what self-care gives me when I'm consistent. So that is a word of my year. It's commitment. It's showing myself the discipline to be able to do the different things that I want to do. And so I think that's why I need it to be part of every day or every other day, because I've let myself get to places where I hit rock bottom and then I start focusing on myself. And at that point, it's just too late. And that's the message I do want to get across in this video, is that you can't just wait till you hit rock bottom every time. That's living a life as being so reactive. And what we try to incorporate and empower and encourage you to do here is, how can we start thinking a little bit more proactive? How can you incorporate these different things even on your best days? Let's just say for me as an entrepreneur, right? I just signed a huge contract. I'm excited. Things are going good in my relationship. I just bought something that I really wanted. Whatever it may be, right? When we start feeling good. And then I'm like, I'm not going to focus on myself, right? We take our foot off the gas. But in those moments too, show yourself, regardless of how your emotions are, regardless of the situations on the outside, you're still going to take care of yourself. You're still going to show up for yourself every single day, regardless of what it looks like. And that's what discipline has meant to me, is showing myself regardless of how I feel, because I'm going to feel like I don't want to work out. I'm going to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to say, I don't want to go. I can't rely on my emotions that are short term. I can't rely on those little moments where it's like, it doesn't feel good.
So when do you know when to take a break versus when it's just emotional and you need to move through it? Because I think those are very important things to distinguish so that you don't burn yourself out.
There is a very different feeling for me. I'll tell you where it is. So I'm a somatic therapist, and I talk a lot about your mind and your body and how they're all interconnected, and we can understand our body and we can get to know what our signals are that our body is sending us signals all the time. We can listen to those. For me, guess what? when I feel like I don't want to do something, it shows up in my mind. It's like, and I start thinking about like how uncomfortable it would be and how painful it is sometimes to go through these workouts, or how I'm just not feeling like journaling because it's going to waste time. And I notice it's the thoughts behind it that are giving me the knowledge to know whether it's, hey, you're really tired, you shouldn't do that, your body needs a rest, or you're trying to talk yourself out of it, and this is purely self-sabotage because it's the thoughts behind it. The thoughts behind it for me in the morning, let's just say for me, something that I'm working on is nurturing my body with foods that feel good.
We've been cooking at home more. Let's just say I'm like really stressed. Okay, I'm stressed in my life, and I'm like, I'm gonna have whatever it is that maybe isn't gonna make me feel so good. I know it's gonna hurt my stomach. I know it's blah 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 blah. But I know for short term, it's gonna give me that dopamine. It's gonna make me feel good, and then I'm gonna do it like, you know what I mean? Like, I know behind it, it's just self-sabotage. I know I've been feeling really good, and I know it's gonna push me back a little bit, and I like that because that's comfortable to me. That's a pattern I know. That right there is telling me, like, no. Like, I know that I need to continue to just eat the nourishing foods. For me, if my body, right, feels a little different, and it's like not the thoughts behind it that are telling me, this is just for me, right? You can take this with how you want, how you need. But if it's the thoughts behind it for me of like, no, like this is something that really sounds good to you, and I'm not trying to hurt myself, I'm not trying to self-sabotage, then I know like it's going to help me move towards what I want, my goals, whatever it may be. So there's a body feeling, and then there's the mind feeling with the thoughts that are self-sabotaging for me. That sounds great.
It's complicated, but it's taken a long time to get to this point where I understand them. But you become like a little bird on your shoulder, and you become this observer that tunes in and looks from the outside and goes, what's actually going on here? Because if you're actually in your emotions 24/7, you become them, and you're like, what the hell is this? You feel like you're in a whirlwind.
Yeah.
You can't do that all the time.
Yeah, but I think burnout is just such a prevalent thing with so many people right now. And I think having these different ideas and thoughts and just ways to recognize the difference between if it's your thought or if you actually need to rest, like they're really helpful for people that are trying to navigate how to take care of themselves when they have a million different things to do. Yeah. Like, life is not easy to navigate. We're not all just able to take care of ourselves for 8 hours a day. Like the morning routines that are like 7 hours long, and you're like, how does anyone get through this? Like, that doesn't even make sense. I think finding these small moments to recognize what it is that you need, how something can serve you better, even if it's for a couple minutes a day, will serve you to build this resilience in the long term so that you really can accomplish your goals. You can do the things that you want. You can show up great in your relationships. You have the energy to show up and make an impact on the people around you. So I really appreciate you just sharing, some tips that have worked for you. And I know that so many people need to be sharing their tips as well. What's working for them? How are they continuing to show up in their life? How they're taking care of themselves so that we all can be better together. Yeah, absolutely. No, I love talking about this, and I know that I may be very, consistent and strict with myself, but sometimes I fall off, and it's like the same thing that I'm saying. It's no matter what your style is, no matter what kind of, advice that you get from other people, just go back to your why. Go back to why you're doing it. I know why I'm doing it, and I'm doing it because I want to be a better version of myself. I want to show up in my relationships. I want to make an impact on this world, and I know that by taking care of myself, that will 1000% help me do those things. And those are the most important things to me. So when I can connect to my why, that's it. So at the end of the day, when you're a busy person, you're taking care of yourself, right? Ask yourself, are there moments that I can actually find time to slow down and look at myself and see myself for who I am and what I need? Absolutely. Thank you for listening to this episode today. If you are not following us yet on
Instagram, Dani and Keely Official. Dani will link it. Please follow us. We do all kinds of polls, surveys. You get to see that you're not alone. You get to see that there's a whole community of people just like you that want to make an impact in this world, want to take better care of their mental health. And having that community, having that support to follow along with every day, that is where you can be. Of course, we have the podcast every single Friday. But head on over there, make sure you subscribe, like this podcast, and just stay connected with us because we have a lot of great resources and tools and tips that can inspire you, but also help you, give you the strategies and tools of what you need every single day. Let's do this.
Let's do it.